Hey guys, Spaceman here. I wish I could be coming to you under better circumstances because I know a lot of you are wondering where I've been since I posted my last video back in January, and if you've been following me on other social media platforms, you'd know that I have been incredibly busy. I've got a tour of the Northeast Coast coming up in October with the Falsies, and I've been working hard on my own music and music videos with my band Dark Matter, all of which I'd love to talk about, and believe me, I do fully intend on making another video where I talk about, where I've been and whether I plan on making any reviews in the future. So it pains me that this is why I have to be making this video today. Back in January, I uploaded my latest review where I talk about every Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer special. It was an hour 23 minutes long, basically a feature-length video essay where I compared the different specials and talked about them on their own merits, plus I discussed the moral of the Rudolph character himself and whether his story holds up under modern analysis. But last week, NBC Universal blocked the video altogether, claiming that the video used copyrighted content. Now, people have talked before about YouTube's copyright policy, but I'd like to give my own personal experience with this video regarding just how poorly implemented it is. First of all, I was a little late in posting the video, and there were 3 reasons why. One is that during the making of the video I caught a nasty case of RSV, which postponed me from recording the dialogue. Another is that my microphone that I've used since 2017 to record my voiceover audio broke during the making of the video, and I had to go buy a new one. And the third is that when I did finally have a completed version of the video uploaded, let's just say YouTube wouldn't let me post it. Immediately after uploading my first version of the video, I received multiple copyright claims. Which makes sense. I was reviewing not 1, but 7 different films or TV specials, though I only received claims on 5 of the 7. The original Max Fleischer short from 1948 has ascended to the public domain, and I'm not sure if the company that made the 1996 Rudolph's Lessons for Life still exists, because the full special is available on YouTube to watch for free. Now, my use of the clips fell under fair use, namely criticism, comment, and education, but filing a dispute with YouTube is a tricky process, especially when I have to file multiple disputes, so I figured I'd wait until I'd tried other options first. The first thing I did was I attempted to re-edit the video to remove the offending clips, but one of YouTube's nasty habits is they don't actually tell you every part they're targeting when they initially claim your video. So you'll remove one part and then they'll immediately claim another part. Does that seem obnoxious? You don't know the half of it. Without exaggeration, I had to re-upload and re-edit the video 18 times. When I could no longer condense the video any further, I finally submitted copyright disputes claiming that the video qualified as fair use. And this is where things get complicated. Yeah, they weren't already complicated before. See, 3 of the 5 specials being claimed, the classic 1964 Rudolph special and its 2 sequels, Rudolph's Shiny New Year and Rudolph and Frosty's Christmas in July, were made by Rankin Animated Entertainment. While the latter 2, the 1998 Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer the movie and the 2001 Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer on the Island of Misfit Toys, were made by GoodTimes Entertainment. The tricky thing is that neither of these companies actually exist anymore. The 2 GoodTimes specials were claimed by a German company called Contour New Media Entertainment, which was thankfully relatively lax when I filed my disputes and removed their claims. But when Rankin broke up, its assets were split so that all of their specials before September 1974 were owned by DreamWorks Animation, which itself was owned by NBC Universal, while all their specials from September 1974 onward were owned by Warner Bros. Discovery. This means that Universal owns the rights to the 1964 special, and Warner owns the rights to Rudolph's Shiny New Year and Rudolph and Frosty's Christmas in July. There's a separate argument in here about whether this metric is entirely arbitrary, or whether it's ethical for 90% of American media to be owned by 3 big companies, but I'm not going to get into that. Although I hate to give Warner Bros. Credit for anything, but credit where it's due. They were very quick with responding to my copyright disputes and removing their claims. But it was the original 1964 special that caused the biggest issue. Universal rejected my dispute outright and would not release their claim. According to them, my video did not count as criticism, comment, or education. By this point, I had edited my video down to where the only way I could edit it further would be legitimately messing with the flow of the video. I've had serious issues with Universal before. They'd previously pulled similar copyright shenanigans on my review of Music from the Elder by Kiss, and with that one, I had to re-upload the video 7 times to try to clear out the claimed content. And then once it was down to only 1 audio segment, I filed a dispute with Universal and waited 30 days for them to either accept or reject my dispute, which finally expired and I was allowed to upload my video a month after I'd finished it. I repeat, they kept me on hold for 30 days. Thankfully, YouTube isn't my primary source of income because, good God, could you imagine if it were? I wouldn't be able to make any money from that video for, a month. Getting back to the Rudolph review, though, I ultimately decided not to do anything about it. None of the claims at the time actually blocked my video, they only killed the monetization. But my main reason for disputing the claims was that in the past, some of my videos that had only been demonetized when I uploaded were later blocked from being viewed altogether, like my reviews of Interstellar 4.5, Rock of Ages, Labyrinth, and Zombie World. I did consider appealing the dispute on the Rudolph video, but I decided against it for reasons I'll get into later. So on January 27th, 2024, my review of every Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer special went public. A good while after Christmas, but whatever, at least it's up, right? And it did start slowly picking up views, but on August 13th, that all changed. I was just waking up, and I signed into my YouTube account to see if I'd received any new comments when I saw this. Blocked. Universal had upgraded the severity of their copyright claim on my Rudolph video, so nobody could see it, nobody could comment. It was like it never existed. They didn't even have the decency to email me about it to let me know that it happened. I wouldn't have found out about it if I hadn't signed in on that day. And I had to tell you, I was genuinely disheartened by this. I worked on this video for over a year. I'd started writing the script in November 2022. I poured my heart and soul, my blood, sweat, and tears into this video. I worked on the damn thing while I was coughing my lungs out recovering from RSV, in the hopes that I could educate people and bring some joy. And just like that, poof. It was all gone. All those days I'd spent for nothing. All that pomp and circumstance. And like it never even happened. So, what can I do? Not a hell of a lot. Since I've already filed a dispute and Universal rejected it, the first option I've considered is appealing Universal's rejection, which would basically involve reasserting why I believe their claim is invalid. But there are a few problems with the appeal process, and the first is who gets to decide whether the claim is valid. So here, let me break this down to you if you're unfamiliar with, how YouTube's copyright policy works. Imagine you're running YouTube, and somebody files a copyright claim on one of the videos hosted on your platform. But then the person who made the video files a dispute alleging that the claim was filed in error, whether for fair use, the footage not actually belonging to the claimant, the creator having license to use the offending material, that sort of thing. What you'd probably do next is assign a non-biased third party to look at the offending material and decide whether it counts as fair use. And it's true. This would be the best, fairest, and most effective way of, enforcing copyright claims and dealing with the disputes. But instead, YouTube has it set up so that the copyright claimants get to decide whether your video is in fair use. There's a scene from Avatar: The Last Airbender where Aang is put on trial for a crime he allegedly committed, and the accuser describes how their court system works.
I say what happened, and then you say what happened, and then I decide who's right.
And it's supposed to be played for laughs, to show how unfair and obviously corrupt their court system is. But that's literally how YouTube's copyright claim system works. The claimant says what happened, the person who's, accused of using copyrighted content says what happened, and then the claimant gets to decide who's right. It puts all the power in the hands of the claimant. Anyone who has a brain should be able to figure out why this is an awful system and how easily it could be abused. People often like to share Tom Scott's video about how YouTube's copyright system isn't broken, the world's is. But even with the crappy system it's trying to enforce, YouTube's method of enforcing copyright is truly abysmal. And if the dispute is rejected and you try to appeal it, it's the same thing, but this time the stakes are even higher because, well, if the claimant rejects your appeal and finds that you have filed a false appeal, your channel receives a copyright strike. My channel doesn't have any strikes yet, but if I were to receive one, I could risk losing my monetization entirely, and I don't want to risk that. But supposing I were to file the appeal and Universal rejected it and I wanted to fight it further, well, the next step would potentially be to take it to court, but I don't exactly have the money to afford a lawyer, much less, afford one who could stand a chance against Universal's lawyers. So the cards would once again be stacked in Universal's favor. Another option would be to edit the video again to remove the offending footage, and the only way to ensure that Universal took no issue with my video would be to remove all footage of the 1964 special. What would I show during my segment talking about that special? I don't know. Hand puppets, illustrations, still screenshots. My depressed-looking face? Look, YouTube didn't think that hard, why should I? Or I could cut out the segment where I talked about the 1964 special altogether. Either way, it would be incredibly jarring for viewers, and even if I were to do that and re-upload the video with zero footage from the 1964 special, I'd still have to deal with all the other specials! That's another weird quirk of YouTube. If you win a copyright dispute but then have to re-upload the video for whatever reason, the copyright claim reappears. So I'd once again have to deal with claims from Warner and Contour, and this time around they might reject my dispute. Who knows? So the only truly fail-safe option would be to remake the video entirely in a way that uses absolutely no copyrighted footage whatsoever. This is an option that one of my friends suggested, but I have little interest in doing that. For one, I don't really think I'm a charismatic enough host for people to want to watch my videos without any clips. For another thing, a lot of what I talk about does directly pertain to what's happening in the clips. Plus, I'd just rather not have to remake this video. Going back and, retreading old ground isn't something I have a lot of interest in. I'd rather spend that time making new stuff. Another possibility is to re-upload the video on Vimeo and direct people to watch it there, and Vimeo does tend to be more lax with its copyright enforcement. The problem is that I don't really have the kind of following that will just pack up and move to another website to watch my videos. Most of my views are coming from people who aren't subscribed, and while I do love Vimeo, YouTube offers a kind of visibility that Vimeo just doesn't have. The same goes for uploading the video onto archive.org, Dailymotion, or any other site, or making my own website to post the video. That may have been feasible back in the 2000s or early 2010s, but YouTube has such a stranglehold, a practical monopoly, over the entire video hosting landscape that any other site that tries to compete ultimately fails and people come back to YouTube. Heck, creators making their own website to host their videos is basically what Channel Awesome was, and even before that site had its public downfall, most of the creators had to migrate back to YouTube anyway. The Channel Awesome site simply didn't offer enough visibility. And it sucks, because it means we're all slave to YouTube's arbitrary rules and policies. The final option is to just do what I did at first, and do nothing. Not battle this claim, not try to fix the video, nothing. Let things take their natural course and, see what happens. Wait for Universal to remove the claim on the video. But I shouldn't have to explain why that's not an option either. Copyright in the United States lasts 95 years for movies and ends on January 1st of the 96th year. So if Universal never releases their claim, this video won't go public until 2060. I'd be 64 by then, assuming that I'm still alive. And even if Universal had a change of heart and released the claim, what then? They could just as easily turn around and remove the video again. I would forever be held captive by the whims of YouTube and Universal, and all this for a TV special that A, Universal didn't actually make, and B, everyone has already seen. My review isn't taking away views from the original special. Everyone has already seen it, and it airs on TV for free every year. Guys, can I be real with you? Making videos has genuinely stopped being fun for me anymore. And this is one of the biggest reasons why. I've worked tirelessly, putting hours, days, weeks into crafting my reviews for my growing audience. This has included an increased focus on scripting, post-production, editing, research, fact-checking. I mean, my latest videos have had as much research put into them as your average college essay. I started making reviews 10 years ago, and at first it was fun. I got joy out of the process of making videos and giving my thoughts on movies and albums. But as YouTube's metric for what qualifies as claimable copyrighted content has grown, it's been increasingly difficult for me to keep going amidst all the other issues of YouTube content creation, playing to the algorithms and all that. And even with this video, where I said screw the algorithms and just made something I could be proud of, YouTube killed it anyway. If copyright battles like this keep happening and keep being so obviously skewed in favor of the big corporations, I don't know if making reviews is worth it anymore. Or maybe I'll eventually find the motivation to continue making videos again. Who knows. In the meantime, is there anything that you or I can do about this that I haven't already talked about? I don't know. Past movements pertaining to YouTube's copyright system, such as Where's the Fair Use, have usually been self-serving for the larger creators. And with the Justice Department's current lawsuit against Google for anti-monopoly laws, I suspect they probably have bigger fish to fry right now. I guess you could spread this video around. Maybe if the right people see this, they could offer some advice about, what my next steps should be. Either way, I'm just tired, man.